G'day guys, I think before I go into the specs, we'll go and just put these two against each other, eh? This is the old 18 volt, the new 40 volt. Let's just go do a few cuts and stuff. One more go with this one. Some of the things Makita say about this is that it's about 40% up. Yep. And new switch designed to reduce contact wearness. Wearness? Somebody Google that. I'm pretty certain that's not a word. Before I do the next test, I'd just like to have a bit of a word. This is about batteries and comparisons. A lot of people seem to comment and say that you can't compare two things that are different, which really does my head in. There's no point in comparing things that are identical. If you're going out to buy a grinder, for instance, and you go and have a look at two grinders and they're both 18 volt, poof, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Both say they're 9,000 RPM, okay, you stop thinking about that as well. They're both the same length, don't have to worry about that anymore. But what you start to look at is the things that are different, not the things that are the same. So you start, maybe one's going to be able to cut a couple of millimeters deeper. Maybe one comes with a battery that has slightly higher amp hours. Those are the things that are going to make you buy the tool, not the things that are the same. And when it comes to amp hours on batteries, this 18 volt battery is a 6 amp hour. This 40 volt battery is a 4 amp hour. I can't do the same, and it doesn't matter anyway. This would have to be an 8 amp hour battery to match the same longevity as this one, but this one's using twice as much, drawing twice as much, so it wouldn't be equal anyway. And if I put a 4 amp hour on this, it's still not equal, so it doesn't matter. What makes the most sense is using the biggest battery you can get for each one. The highest amp hour battery on each of these tools, so that will give you the longest run time for either tool, and that's how we're going to compare it. If you are sitting there right now thinking, it's not fair, one's an 18 volt, 36 volt, I'm going to put that in the comments. Please go back to school. I can't help you here anymore. For this final test, I haven't charged the batteries that I've been doing the other test with, so they are on 3 bars each. And now I'm just going to run them until they are both flat. This will basically just see if this one is drawing a lot more than this one or not, or something like that. There you have it, 9 minutes more, and the brake didn't work. It sucked too much life out of the battery, I guess, for the brake. Now of course when you're using the tool, it's not going to last for 29 minutes cutting things. Makita rate it at 7 minutes cutting 20 millimeters deep through concrete. So if you cut a 20 millimeter deep line for 7 minutes, that's your whole battery gone. But I think that showed you'll get more life out of the biggest XGT battery than you will out of the biggest LXT battery, which is something people wanted to know and been asking me. Will this last longer than this? Looks like it will. This also cuts much faster, so your productivity should be a lot better than with this. This is going to take a lot more battery power to do the same task that this one does. I'll now charge the 6 amp hour 18 volt battery on the 40 volt charger because someone asked a question and wanted to know if the 6 amp hour battery charged faster than the 5 amp hour battery. So I'm going to test that and I'll stick it on my other channel. How does this always happen? Right, we'll now compare the specs and the features of these two different tools. First up, the weights. The 18 volt with a grinding disc, the handle, a battery, you're looking at 2.8 kgs, 2,805 grams. The 40 volt battery, grinding wheel, handle, 3,440 grams. So that is just over 600 grams difference, or the weight of an entire 18 volt battery. The handles are identical. The locking nuts are actually slightly better on the 18 volt one, but they're basically, basically the same. Threads are the same. In the hand they feel pretty much the same. They've gone with the same sort of design, apart from the battery is on an angle on the 40 volt, whereas it's straight on the 18, which means you can stand an 18 volt one up like that, whereas the 40 volt one will never stand up, has to be laid down. They both have a slide switch, not a paddle switch. You can get these in slide or paddle, slide with AWS and variable speed, and paddle with AWS and variable speed. They have once again gone with these fine mesh guards over the air intakes, which are much easier to come off on the 40 volt. In fact, I don't know, I'm imagining a lot of guys are going to lose these because it pings out pretty easily. A lot easier than the 18 volt ones do. The 18 volt ones have one extra point of contact. They are both 8,500 RPM, which is slightly misleading because you think, okay, they're both the same speed, they're going to cut the same. Well, as you will have seen in the videos, that was not the case. When you're cutting with the 18 volt, you can feel it slowing down as you're cutting through the material, whereas the 40 volt managed to maintain the speed. I don't have a tachometer, unfortunately, but I have one on the way. When I get one, I might test just to see how much this loses, the 18 volt loses during full load compared to the 40 volt. In the earlier part of the video, when I was cutting with an abrasive wheel, it was much nicer using the 18 volt, but slower. There's getting a bit of chatter on the 40 volt, which chews through your discs a lot quicker. That's sometimes due to just the balance of getting the tool right. It's a brand new tool, I'm not used to it yet, that may have something to do with it. Or how far you are cutting away from the holding point of your material, that sort of thing. There might be a bit of vibration in that piece of threaded rod I was cutting. So I then switched to a metal cutting metal disc, and that didn't have the vibration issue. And the 40 volt felt so much quicker and faster and nicer. As you will have seen with all the tests I did, the 40 volt smashed the 18 volt. It was, I haven't looked at the figures, but it was substantially faster. I'm guessing somewhere in the region of 30 or 40% quicker. Balance wise, the 40 volt is heavier at the back, but it seems to balance quite nicely. It's a slightly longer unit, so that may have helped with the balance. None of the new 40 volt 125mm grinders come with X-Lock, but there's a new 18 volt one that does. If you have one of these 18 volt Makitas, you will know that this guard is a pig. To get it on and off, you need to loosen that, and then I can't get this one off with the handle where it is. So you've got to undo the handle, and get it round and take it off. Bit of a pain. And then you lock it in place like that, but if you haven't got the screw at the right tightness, it still moves around, so you've got to get a screwdriver and try and tighten it. It's a bit of a pig to get on and off, and that encourages some people maybe to not put it on when they should. So this is one of the best new additions to the 40 volt one. This one So this one is tool free. You don't have to remove the handle. Take it off like so. So the guard has a number of holes, as you can see around the ring here. And to put it on the grinder, you push this in, slot this on, like so, then turn it to where you want it. And then when you release this, it will lock in, locked, push it in again, move it around, lock, move it around, lock, wherever you want to have it. So that is much quicker and easier than the previous models. However, there's a rubber O-ring here and 3 of these sprung washer type things. I can't see this is going to last very well at all. I'm not even sure what that rubber one really is for, how necessary that is. But it's it won't be there for long, I can tell you that. It's going to get worn off real fast. And I'm not sure this is the sturdiest design. I've seen better guard designs than this. But it's still an improvement on the previous one, because you can just do it like so. So yeah, that is a big improvement over the 18. So what are my overall impressions of the new 40 volt max Makita XGT grinder? Well, let's put it this way. Does anyone want to buy an 18 volt one? Thanks for watching, guys. Heaps more 40 volt to come. Got one of these, one of these, one of these, and one of these. Let me know which one you want to see next, and until then, stay safe and I'll see you on the next one. 40 volt traffic jam.